particular?
No, it was just a lot of scenarios and stuff, so.
Oh, and then they got a answer.
Yeah.
It was bad on A, B, C, D. But when it came to an essay, yeah, I couldn't read it.
Now see, that was better. I said I was good with it.
No, you better just let me talk, okay?
I could.
Because I'll explain it.
Those were always my.
We had a teacher up there, great. Larry Greer.
Oh, yeah.
He was great at putting crap down.
Look at this.
We had to do some evaluations or stuff. He'd just sit there and
Still see more kids at the bottom that they're getting at sunny side.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, I looked for an obit, but there wasn't one that was posted up, but.
I would be reluctant to use this too unless the teachers were literally going to sit right there.
Yeah, with that back. Purdue, who do they play tonight? I forget.
it's on, unless you got bright feathers, you're not gonna do it. It's on at 6:30.
They'll be at your house. Get the snacks
Do you
out.
have private parking?
Valley parking. Is it catered? Yeah.
I'm going to dinner with FYI. Sorry.
We'll just leave the door unlocked. He won't care. Fine.
Put the key in the mat.
But no, I did because I'm an official. And so I think.
Well, there's discounts for teachers. See, if you hadn't retired, you could have gotten a discount.
There's a discount for teachers.
You just need to know
Look,
that.
he's-
A lot of those training services are discounts. It's for educational use.
How about a discount for cheap politicians?
I think that's way down in the drop down menu.
My homeschooling kids use it all the time.
Just kind of going around and
How much is this count for seat back?
I don't know.
We have every streaming service under the sun.
Oh, you do?
Because Rudy pays for this, Charlie pays for that.
Sure, yeah.
I like that.
Peacock, Max.
Yep, no, I'll take care of, just keep reminding me, Jerry.
You always stand up?
Let's go ahead and get our meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending our November 4th, 2024 regular meeting. Madam Clerk, would you conduct a roll call, please?
Blinker.
Here.
Nargi. Here. Reynolds.
Here.
Weiss.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Aldersmeyer.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
Downey.
Here.
Snyder.
Present.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Moving on for the review and approval of the special meeting minutes from October 24, 2024. Mr. Clinker.
I move we approve those minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor by signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Moving on to the suspension of our normal meeting for a public meeting. Mr. Reynolds.
I move to hear public hearing ordinance 2024-51.
Recess.
The recess.
Oh, I'm sorry. Got ahead of us. Move to recess.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and second recess. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2024-51, an ordinance for an additional appropriation in Economic Development Income Tax Fund number 2090.
Is there any public comment on ordinance 2024-51? Any public comments? Seeing none and hearing none,
Need a motion to reconvene.
I'd like to entertain a motion to reconvene.
I
Mr.
move
Brown.
to- So move.
Motion and a second. All in favor, see by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Presentation and disposal of claims, there are none. Presentations of petitions and communications, there are none. And the reports on city offices on file in the city clerk's office, fleet maintenance monthly September, renew department monthly September, waterworks department monthly September.
All right, very good. And I would encourage anybody who is interested in those items to check out our website. We have an extensive website with all that information available. 24/7, or you can come in and see Madam Clerk for the hard
That's right.
copies of that information, so.
Little entertainment.
Little entertainment. All right, moving on for ordinances for second reading. Ordinance 2024-50.
An ordinance authorizing the City of Lafayette, Indiana to make and fund a loan as evidenced by the Taxable Income Development Revenue Note, Series 2024, Anvil 26 project, and authorizing and approving other actions in connection therewith.
Mr. Brown,
Mr. President, I move we hear and approve ordinance 2024-50 on first reading, on second reading.
Second.
thank you. Motion and a second. Ms. Chosnick.
All right. This evening, we are here on second reading to discuss the Anvil 26 multifamily housing project. The ordinance in front of you does authorize a 3-year forgivable loan of up to $2.5 million to Ironman Properties. We estimate the actual loan will be around 2.8, which will support the construction of an $18.4 million housing project at South Street and 26th Street. This project will bring 78 new housing units to the area. By structuring the loan as a forgivable loan, we're able to utilize healthy TIF balances more efficiently, avoiding the typical costs and interest tied to a bond issuance. If the project is completed as planned, the loan will be forgiven after 3 years. To ensure that there is a community benefit, there is a participation agreement as part of this structure. If the property is sold within 8 years, a portion of the sale proceeds will go back to the Redevelopment Commission to help reimburse the original loan. This repayment amount, as we discussed last month, does decrease every year as you head towards those 8 years. The project structure has already been approved by the Economic Development Commission, the Redevelopment Commission, and you on first reading. As projected by our financial advisor last month, this new allocation area should generate enough TIF revenue to cover the loan amount by 2035. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Counselor. Is there any comments or questions from the council? Any comments or questions from the public? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk, we conduct a roll call.
Blinker.
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown. Aye. Alwaysmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 2024-51.
An ordinance for an additional appropriation for the Economic Development Income Tax Fund number 2090.
Ms. Weiss-Williams.
I move we hear and approve ordinance 2024-51 on second and final reading.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Downey. Mr. Deal, good evening.
Good evening, Jeremy Deal, City Controller. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of council, this ordinance proposes an additional appropriation of $1 million in edit funds for the 2024 budget year. The appropriation is requested for construction and is intended to address that, to ensure that adequate resources are available to meet the financial obligations of the city for the construction of the Tippecanoe County Humane Society Shelter Facility, as well as meet our 2024 paving and road improvements obligations. The shelter facility is complete and is currently in use, and this project was shared, the costs are shared between the City of Lafayette, Tippecanoe County, and the City of West Lafayette. I do expect one more quarterly invoice to come in at the end of the year. So this is partially to ensure that we have resources to meet that obligation. And paving work is substantially complete for the year also. We do expect a few more items of work to be completed. We needed to reach out to contractors this year and had significant work performed by Milestone and Reith Riley. So I hope that this is not entirely needed. The $1 million amount requested is conservative, and hopefully our true obligations will not require use of all of this $1 million. The fund resources in edit are adequate to meet this. The current balance is around $8 million, so that's not a concern. I respectfully request your approval of this additional appropriation request.
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Any comments or questions from the council? Comments or questions from the public? Hearing and seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you conduct a roll call?
Blinker.
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown. Aye. Alwaysmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 2024-52.
An ordinance of the City of Lafayette authorizing the issuance of waterworks revenue bonds for the purpose of providing funds to pay the costs of construction of certain additions, extensions, and improvements to municipal waterworks of said city, providing for the safeguarding of interests of the owners of said bonds, other matters connected therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipation of bonds, and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
That's a mouthful. Mr. Clinker.
Move we hear ordinance 2024-52 on second reading.
Second?
Thank you. Motion and a second.
Very good.
Counselor.
Yes, as Madam Clerk was reading that ordinance title, I was like, I did not name that ordinance, and so I'm sorry for all the words. But as we are discussing this ordinance, again, we are here on second reading this month. This ordinance does authorize up to $5 million of funding from the Indiana Finance Authority through their state revolving fund, which we will use as we continue to implement our requirements under the 2021 EPA lead and copper rule revisions. The great part about this funding is of the $5 million, $2.5 million is a forgivable loan, so that does not have to be repaid, and the other $2.5 million is being loaned through the program at 0% interest with payments over the next 20 years. So this is a good resource of money available to us for us to do the work that we need to do. And just as a clarification, because I know it's in there, the $8 million number that you do see in the ordinance, we put that in there just in case SRF happens to find some additional money that is floating around. We will already have the authorization to seek additional funding. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the council? Comments or questions from the public? Hearing and seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you conduct a roll call?
Blinker?
Aye.
Nargi? Aye. Reynolds?
Aye.
Weiss?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 2024-53.
An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of Tippecanoe County, Indiana to rezone certain real estate from PDMX to PDMX.
Mr. Reynolds.
Move to hear ordinance 2024-53 on first reading.
Second?
Thank you. It's a petitioner here, Mr. Munden.
Ryan Munden with RTS Law here on behalf of the petitioner, Vita Investment Holdings LLC. This project is an age-restricted 55 and older apartment building and garden units at the intersection of Park East and 38, just to the east of Riggs Power Equipment and Anvil 38. If you'll recall, back in May, this project was approved by City Council. Since that approval, the petitioner has determined that the market would support additional units. In order to accomplish that, we've had to go back and redo the PD process for the purpose of adding those units. So the original project was for 163 units. We're now proposing 204, so 41 additional units. Everything else will remain substantially the same. There will still be the same amenities: pickleball courts, gazebos, courtyard, bocce ball court, and the internal trail network for the project will connect to the Park East trail network that ultimately ends at the YMCA and Ivy Tech. There's also a GB outlot as part of this project. The prohibited uses for that outlot are fairly lengthy, but it includes gas stations and storage facilities, so those uses are not permitted. Area Plan staff recommended approval of this redesigned project. Area Plan Commission voted on October 16th unanimously to recommend approval. So we're here this evening requesting your vote of approval, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Mr. Munden, you said 41 more units, but no more parking? Things like that?
What's the change on parking, Katie?
Additional parking for each of the cottage units, and we squeezed in like 5 parking spaces. We still meet a parking ratio of 1.5.
Yeah, so the original parking spaces was 252. We're now increasing to 265.
Very good. I had a quick question. Is this the VITA project? Is that the name of this?
Correct,
Particular
yes.
VITA? Thank
Yeah.
you. Any comments or questions from the council? Comments or questions from the public? Thank you. Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you conduct a roll call?
Blinker?
Aye.
Nargi? Aye. Reynolds?
Aye.
Weiss? Aye. Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
All right, thank you. Moving on to ordinance 2024-54.
In order to amend the zoning ordinance of Tippecanoe County, Indiana to rezone certain real estate from RB1 to NBU.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. President, I move that we hear and approve ordinance 2024-54 on first reading.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. Do we have a petitioner here tonight for the ordinance 2024-54? I don't believe we do we? No, we do. Very good.
Hi.
Thank you, council members. I appreciate the time here today. My name is Alec Williams. My address is 1007 Elliott Street, Lafayette, Indiana. It's in the Wallace Triangle up on the hill here. I own a company called the Heartland Concept, which is a real estate, we call redevelopment company. We've been focusing in the area of this 16th Street that you see here today. The building that we're asking for rezoning is once always used, I think, as a commercial unit. It was a radiator shop and then a body shop, and then it sat vacant for about 7 to 8 years. Our business is redeveloping old homes and old buildings like this. I do sit on the Historic Preservation Commission, so I do have a bend towards the old historic buildings. And this is one that has certainly been forgotten. Our plans and purpose for this is finally to open up a brick and mortar shop for ourselves, to have an office there as well as a little bit of storage for some supplies. We're gonna have a 2-bedroom, 1 bath on the upper floor, and it will have its own separate entrance as well. And then we hope to partner with a local restaurant owner here in town to offer a possible restaurant on part of that as well. I think it would serve the community very well, and I think it would work out nicely. So today, the Area Planning Commission approved it back in October, and we're asking for your approval here today as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. How long has that building been vacant?
I want to say 7 to 8 years. To be honest, we've been sending letters to somebody, we don't know who, for a lot of years. It was by happenstance that we were able to get connected with the new owners. It went through a transition, and then we purchased it from the investor who bought it about a few months ago.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a radiator shop, right?
That's what I hear, yeah.
Deer's Radiator Shop.
Deer's Radiator. Yeah.
Went to school with the son.
But you
Yeah.
don't anticipate any environmental issues, right?
No, I don't. I don't think so. It did have it was mostly a body shop where it would basically work on fenders, things like that for the most part, but we don't have any reason to believe there's any elements in the ground or anything like that.
So you're not
Yeah.
gonna find a Chevy in the ground, right?
I've looked, I haven't found anything like that. I did find an old Camaro hood that I tried to keep, but he wouldn't let me, so, yeah.
And the grass will be mowed more.
Yeah, that's right. We will take care of it. We promise you that. We live just 3 or 4 blocks away from there, and all of our properties are within 6 blocks of the area. So we like to say we farm our little houses in the neighborhood. So this would be a great addition to it.
Very nice.
It could be a
Yeah.
great improvement to that
It's got a
area.
cool look,
Yes.
doesn't it? Yeah. A lot of history here as well.
I had similar concerns to Mr. Brown, but
Yeah.
that'll all have to be addressed.
Yeah. Thank you.
City
All right.
water and sewers.
Any more comments or questions from the council? Comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you conduct a roll call, please?
Blinker.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 2024-55.
An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lafayette, Indiana, approving the issuance and sale of special taxing district bonds by the city and for and behalf on the Park and Recreation District of the city to provide for the financing of certain improvements to park facilities.
Ms. Weiss Williamson.
I move we hear ordinance 2024-55 on first reading.
Second.
Thank you. Ms.
All
Strasnick.
right, very good. Before you, you have an ordinance to authorize the issuance of up to $6.35 million in Park District bonds to support several exciting projects at the Columbian Park Zoo. The Park Board did initially approve the issuance of these 2024 Park District bonds at its meeting on October 21st, with a public hearing scheduled for its November 18th meeting. We have secured a favorable interest rate of 3.57 for this 5-year bond issuance. I did hand out before the meeting the financial analysis by our financial consultants, Baker Tilly. If you refer to page 5, it will show the breakdown of the estimated annual debt service payments, and I believe the mayor will talk a little bit more about the financing here in a second, which I'm going to actually just turn it over to him now, so.
Thank you, Jackie. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, we've talked about this a little bit. Timing's everything, right? So working to incorporate the ability to construct the new primate complex. I've got the election on my mind. I said primary, right? The new primate complex at Columbian Park Zoo. As you know, that's part of the overall master plan. We've been trying to do that. It takes a long time, and each exhibit's fairly expensive that we do. And so we want to really get that done. We think it's time to do that. So we're looking at doing the primate, and also have a new holding facility and 4 new outdoor exhibits. It's going to be kind of like a boardwalk initially, and you'll go to 4 kind of separate locations, make it kind of cool. We're not trying to create a new Monkey Island. That's gone for good. That's not the way it's supposed to be anymore for the welfare of the animals. So we're going to do renovations to the exterior of the masonry of the Animal House building. We're also going to redo the Eagle exhibit. We're probably going to put a little playground within the zoo in that area, and then look at some other potential amusement or entertainment opportunities. We haven't quite got that worked out yet, but the big grass area there, kind of between where the primary exhibit is now, the monkeys on the old Animal House, and then where the new zoo office it's going to be in kind of that whole big grass area there, and our goal is to kind of get that filled in, and you know, you got to continue to create that new experience when you go to the zoo, right? And there's got to be plenty for people to do, and so we're very excited to be able to do this. A lot of the reason is, like I said, timing also. Even with the budget that we passed, and we know we put a lot of things in that budget, we're able to do this first round of the bond of the debt that we would incur and still lower the tax rate. So with that in mind, the part of the tax rate that we control here at the City of Lafayette, we don't control the schools or the jail or child welfare or the libraries and those things, but the part that we control, we've lowered 9% in the last 3 years now. So that is really good. So we can do this without raising the tax and still actually lower the tax rate. And that's what we're trying to time it, and we're just doing the 5 years and make all that financing work out. So I think we're in a very good position to do this. I think it's something the community will really enjoy. It's right in line with quality of life to attract economic development, give people things to do and reasons why they want to live here. So we would appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mayor. And on behalf of pretty much everybody that I've talked to in the city of Lafayette, Columbia Park is the crown jewel of our community, and we get a lot of positive feedback from outliers with respect to that. You want me to get that, Perry? I'm just kidding. Madam Clerk, would you go ahead and conduct a roll call, please?
Blinker.
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
All right, thank you. Moving on to ordinance 2024-56.
Ordinance adopting an investment policy for the city of Lafayette, Indiana.
Mr. Clinker.
Move we hear ordinance 2024-56 on first reading.
Second?
Thank you. Mr. Deal, good evening again.
Hello again. Jeremy Deal, City Controller. Oh, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of council, this is introduction of an investment policy for your approval. This needs to be approved annually, so this policy remains unchanged from last year's. The policy designates the city controller as the authorized investment officer. It requires conformance with state statute regarding investment of public funds, provides a general outline of permitted investments, and sets a standard of prudence and ethics to be observed by the investment officer. The policy will have a one-year term, so we'll be doing this again next year. And I respectfully ask for your approval of the proposed policy.
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Any comments or questions from the council?
Buy low, sell high, right?
They say. Any comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you conduct a roll call, please?
Blinker.
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
All right, thank you. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution 2024-25.
A resolution adopting the 2025 Common Council calendar of meetings.
Mr. Reynolds.
Move to hear resolution 2024-25.
Second?
Thank you. Motion and a second.
I can speak to this.
Yeah, thank you.
My office puts this together annually, and we've vetted this with the mayor and with all the holidays, and we only have to have one odd day, and that's on Labor Day. So everything else is the same, so.
That's just a schedule for our meetings, right?
We should do a meeting on my birthday.
Oh, dear. Oh.
All right. Any
Be sure to
comments?
sing.
Any comments or questions from the council with Resolution 2425? Comments or questions from the public? Hearing, seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you conduct a roll call?
Clinker.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Resolution passes 8-0.
Thank you. Moving on to reports of standing committees. Reports of special committees. Reports by the mayor.
Just quickly, some help here. I wanted to show everybody tonight, we've been very fortunate in the last month or so. I won't go into the total detail of everything, but obviously, many members of this council were a big part of the Lafayette Public Safety Center, and it continues to win awards for that center. We were recently awarded 2 awards in Indianapolis through the American Institute of Architects, and for construction projects over $5 million. And so I was reading through some of it, so to make sure it's fair, it's actually a group of architects within this organization that are in Nebraska. Actually review to take kind of the bias out of it and stuff and see who wins. So we're very excited to have won both of those awards, and some of you were present. We won the Greater Lafayette Commerce City Center Preservation Award for the public safety building and for the restoration of the Horner facade on the building there for those incubator businesses. And as you probably saw, Pinch of Pepper had their big article in the paper and going to be featured in Magnolia Magazine. And they're actually going to be moving out of that incubator now into a full-size space on Main Street, which is what we're hoping would happen, and it's starting to happen. So just a big thank you to the city council for the role that you played, and I'm going to bring them to the Board of Works tomorrow, and I've took them to the Redevelopment Commission. A lot of people had to do a lot of things to make this project, but I think we should all be gratified that it's being recognized, not just for what it's doing, because it is doing exactly what we'd hoped that it would, but for the quality of work and the way that it was done also. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It's always good to share positive news. Thank you for that.
Thank you for your leadership, Mayor.
All right, moving on, miscellaneous and new business. Miscellaneous and new business. Reports of councilmen and women. Yes, Mr. Clinker.
I was wondering if Ms. Murray would want to add anything for the Christmas parade. I know, is that expired, the date for entry? So,
It's this week,
okay.
so,
parade.
yeah, but we have one, but we still have another meeting, but you won't be able to.
I just wanted to give the
Give an
opportunity to the
entry.
public to know
Yeah.
that that deadline is
It's,
soon.
yes, it is.
It's here. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, very good. Any more reports from the councilman? Public comments? Seeing none, hearing none. Mr. Clinker.
Move for adjournment.